Hello guys, Croft is here. Since my last video on the Alien Awakening update, more news and details came out about the potential plot of the next Alien sequel. It's been more than 3 years since Alien Covenant release, and although we got different updates in the past about Alien Awakening, the movie always seems like it's far away. However, recently Ridley Scott announced in 2 interviews that an Alien sequel is in the works, and he explained that Alien Awakening will answer questions about the Juggernaut, the eggs, and the space jockey. So in today's video I'm gonna go through this part and other things that he said in these interviews, and you'll see that it's highly likely that the storyline about engineers will continue in the next Alien movie. Since the Alien Covenant release, there's been so many news about the next installment that some of you may not know all of them, so before we get to the 2 most recent interviews, I'm gonna go through the timeline of all the updates about this Alien sequel that came out in the last 3 years. This will give us a quick summary of everything we know so far about Alien Awakening, which will put in context the 2 recent interviews and give a better understanding of what's coming up next. Before we begin, I just wanted to thank you guys for watching my videos and reaching 100,000 subscribers. It's a huge milestone for this channel, and it truly wouldn't be possible without you guys, so I really appreciate it. Alien Covenant was released in May 2017, and already in June, Ridley Scott and Damon Lindeloff revealed their plans for the next installment in the franchise, Alien Awakening. First of all, Damon Lindeloff, one of the scriptwriters of Prometheus, said this in his interview with Colider magazine. I think that one of the conversations that we had at the end of Prometheus is Shaw and David have basically locked in on the coordinates of the planet where the engineers came from. What does this place look like? Ridley called it Paradise. It doesn't feel like they've gotten there yet in Covenant. Covenant felt like it was maybe a detour prior to them arriving at the place of origin of engineers. So I don't want to spoil any place that he might still be wanting to go, but the conversations that Ridley and I had about where the story goes next were largely about the place where the engineers were from and less about the events of Covenant. From this interview we can already tell that the Planet 4 was not Paradise where David and Shaw were heading at the end of Prometheus. It's actually really interesting how the engineer homeworld planet would look like. I wouldn't be surprised if it would have Geiger designs with many holographic elements similar to the ones in Prometheus. According to Lindeloff in this interview, the Planet 4 was a detour and the story will eventually lead to the Engineer Paradise planet in the sequels. Ridley Scott actually confirmed this idea in another interview that he gave in mid-June 2017, and I'll leave a link to it in the description. I actually think he revealed way too many details, that's why the full version was removed and only a small part of this interview is still available online. In overall, Ridley said that in Alien Awakening, engineers will return to the Planet 4 to investigate why one of their seeded planets was decimated. He also explained that in his vision, engineers are quote-unquote gardeners of space who, pretty much like gods, periodically visit worlds that they've seeded with life to observe how their creations are evolving. Another important thing that he said in this interview was that the story will eventually lead to the planet, which is strongly implied to be LV-426 featured in the original Alien. So as far back as in June 2017, Ridley already was planning and developing the script for Alien Awakening. It's possible that the script had some of the engineer lore and history from the early Prometheus draft scripts that I explained in my other videos. You should definitely check them out if you haven't seen them yet, since the draft script and other documents revealed tons of fascinating information about engineers that was cut from the movie. The pre-production for Alien Awakening was supposed to start in September 2017, but it was cancelled due to a modest box office of Alien Covenant. However, at that time, the Fox CEO said that they are open to make another Alien movie if Ridley finds the right story, so ultimately the Alien Awakening project was put on the shelf for a while. Then in October 2017, during the podcast with Empire magazine, Ridley said something that seemed contradictory to his earlier plans for the next Alien installment. I think the evolution of the alien himself is nearly over, but what I was trying to do was transcend and move to another story which would be taken over by AIs. The world that the AI might create as a leader if he finds himself on a new planet. We have actually quite a big layout for the next one. By saying that they already have a big layout for the next one, Ridley implied that the script for the next movie may be partially or completely written. Ridley's comment about AI had many fans worried that the franchise will shift its focus on David, which contradicted previous plans for Alien Awakening. However, what I think Ridley Scott was trying to say was that David and AI will be the antagonist of the next movie that engineers or humans will be fighting against. The concept of AI is actually one of the main themes of the Alien franchise, since the relationship between humans and artificial intelligence is explored in every film. For that reason, Alien Awakening might feature a conflict between a world ruled by artificial intelligence and engineers. There exists a theory that engineers fundamentally reject the idea of AI and artificial life forms, which is a possible reason the engineer in Prometheus killed David in such a violent way. One possible scenario is that there will be some sort of a war between David's army of xenomorphs and engineers, which would completely destroy LV-426 and make it a dead planet like we saw it in Alien of 1979. And the human exploration mission or the surviving colonists on the ship will be sort of caught in between this war. The next update happened in April 2018 when Kate Watterson said in an interview that she hasn't heard anything about Alien Awakening. Since she played one of the main characters in Covenant and was expected to have some sort of a role in the sequel, these news really upset the fans, and for a while it was assumed that Alien Awakening was completely cancelled. However, in November 2018, the Empire magazine released a special edition called Empire Classics Alien, which explores every single Alien film and provides an update about the sequel. The magazine revealed that John Logan almost finished the script for Alien Awakening, in which David will be chased by furious engineers after they discovered that he committed a genocide on one of their planets. The chase will eventually lead to LV-426 according to John Logan, therefore circling back the prequels to the original Alien, which confirms ideas mentioned previously by Ridley Scott. These news were really exciting and they revived the possibility that Alien Awakening will eventually be made. Then, in April 2019, Disney-Fox merger was completed, and at the CinemaCon, Disney executives confirmed that they are planning to continue Alien movies, which was the first official update of any kind. Then, for about a year, there wasn't any other news about the Alien sequel until two recent interviews, which we're gonna go through right now. In June 2020, Ridley revealed what story he intends to tell in Alien Awakening. In an interview with Los Angeles Times, this is what Ridley said about future plans for the Alien franchise. "I still think there's a lot of mileage in Alien, but I think you'll have to now re-evolve. What I always thought when I was making the first one was, why would a creature like this be made, and why was it traveling in what I always thought was a kind of a warcraft which was carrying a cargo of these eggs? What was the purpose of the vehicle, and what was the purpose of the eggs? That's the thing to question. Who, why, and for what purpose is the next idea. Since you cannot explain the purpose of the xenomorph eggs and the Juggernaut without addressing the space jockey, Alien Awakening will in some way answer questions about the engineers and their role in the xenomorph origins. So by saying who, why, and for what purpose is the next idea, Ridley Scott means that future Alien films will be focused on exploring the mysteries about the space jockey, the black goo, the deacon, and the xenomorph eggs, and how it all relates to humans. Ridley gave another interview to Forbes in September, and this is what he said about the future of Alien. That's in process. We went down a route to try and reinvent the wheel with Prometheus and Covenant. Whether or not we go directly back to that is doubtful because Prometheus woke it up very well. It may sound confusing, but I think what Ridley meant by that is that they are not going to reinvent the franchise with the sequel because Prometheus already did it pretty well. So instead of rebooting or coming up with something completely new, Ridley is going to continue the storylines started in Prometheus in order to answer questions about the origins of the space jockey, the eggs, and the Juggernaut. Then Ridley continued. But you know, you're asking fundamental questions like, has the alien himself, the facehugger, the chestburster, have they all run out of steam? Do you have to rethink the whole bloody thing and simply use the word to franchise? That's the fundamental question. In many interviews, including this one, Ridley alluded to the fact that the alien creature itself doesn't have the same appeal as it had in the past. That's why Ridley is saying that he's just gonna use the word alien to indicate that a film belongs to the alien universe, but the story will not necessarily be about the original alien creature. Therefore, if Ridley will actually try to answer questions about the space jockey and the Juggernaut, future movies will be exploring the origins of the alien species, which will probably lead to the origins of the engineers and the black goo. So that was my interpretation of things Ridley was trying to say in these interviews. I don't think he realizes when he answers these questions, fans will dissect every word he said in order to get some insights about the next movie. That's why I feel like sometimes Ridley is just throwing ideas that are in his mind at that moment without really thinking it through. So to summarize, these recent interviews bring some excitement and hope that we will eventually get another alien movie which will explore other mysterious aspects of the alien universe. The most likely scenario based on what we've heard from scriptwriters and Ridley is that engineers will return and find out about the destruction of the Planet 4. They will follow David to LV-426 where he will have created a xenomorph homeworld using colonists on the ship and xenoembryos, therefore perfecting the organism that he started in Covenant. Then there will be some sort of a war between a xenomorph world created by AI and engineers, which will lead to the complete destruction of LV-426. The script for Alien Awakening may be partially or completely written, but considering what is going on in the world right now, we probably won't see this movie for at least a year and a half. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think about all the information that we have so far about Alien Awakening, and what do you want to see in this Alien sequel. Thank you again for reaching 100,000 subscribers, it really means a lot to me. Also, don't forget to check out other content on my channel. My name is Croft and I'll see you in the next video.